Hi, Vinny Lavodi here, Tech Support and Enabling Devices. Today I'd like to talk to you about one of our items, number 5008, the Sensory Zone Controller. So let's get started. So what I'd like to do is just give you a quick overview of what the sensory controller is and really how you would use it in a sensory room or sensory space. What this actually allows you to do is control the sensory products that are electrically powered through this controller here. Either the therapist or actually even the participants can actually turn on and turn off certain sections of what we would call zones. You can actually create a zone and have a few different sensory items plugged into a power strip, and then you are able to just press these buttons to turn them on or turn them off, so you can actually focus on one part of the room at a time, or you're just able to control it and allow you to control the environment in which you're in. It's really helpful and actually enhances the room because you have complete control over it. What I have set up now is a sensory cart with a couple of sensory items on there, and I'll show you how I can control them from the sensory controller here, and then later on we'll actually show you how we hook these things up and get everything to work together. So what we're going to do now is just, again, if you press on zone 1, it's going to turn all the items that are plugged into my power strip on the sensory cart. They'll stay on, and I want to shut them off. I press the bottom button, which turns off the zone. You have 3 other zones or 3 other modules that you can set up and plug in either a single sensory item or, using the power strip as I demonstrated earlier, multiple items, and they will actually be as one zone, and they'll be controlled by whatever zone you have set up for them. Okay, so here we have the sensory zone control. This is the main unit, and I'm just going to go over this briefly to show you how this is all set up. This requires 4 AA alkaline batteries here on the back. This one Phillips head screw, you just remove that and put your 4 AA batteries in here. Then here on the back there's a jack. It's basically a phone jack, and we supply you with the phone cable. One end of the cable is going to go in the back here in the unit, and then this is what you call your interface, your power line interface. The other end of the phone cable would be plugged into this, and then this gets plugged into your wall outlet, and then you're able to control these modules, and we'll get into that. Now the way to set these up is each one of these boxes have two dials on here. One's a number dial and the other one's a set of letters. Now for our system we only use you have to set for channel A. So all the boxes will be set for channel A. The other thing that you'll be setting different for each box, or to correlate with your zones, is your number section. So the first zone, we will have it zone 1. So we would just, that's set for zone 1, so we would just set that to 1. So on this one, if I was setting it up for zone 2, I would just take a dime or a small screwdriver and set to number 2 now. So this is set for zone 2, so this will control the second button, and so on and so on. We would do for zone 3, this is set for zone 3 now, and then this one would be set for zone 4. And that's all you have to do with these boxes. Okay, the first thing you want to do is, this is your power line interface. This is what controls or sends the signal out to your different X10 modules. So what you want to do is, on the bottom here, there's a, looks like exactly like a phone jack. You just plug one end of the cord that's supplied, and then the other end into the back of the unit here. You just plug that cable right in here. Now you're connected, and then you plug this into one of your wall outlets in the room. Now, very important, make sure that when you do plug it in that this LED light does come on. If not, that means you either have a problem with your outlet or you have a dead outlet where there's no power. If this is not lit, it will not be able to send any signal to the other X10 modules. So just make sure that is on before you start setting up your other your zones. One other note I would like to mention, The stock cable that you get with the controller, like I said, is about 8 feet. So if you run into a situation where you actually need a little bit longer cable, what you can do, you can purchase another phone cable in a local store like a Radio Shack or Best Buy. All you need is a 4-pin phone cable. Most house phones use only a 2-pin, but commercial phones use a 4-pin, and that's just 4 connectors on the cable ends itself, and those are readily available in any store that sells phone cables. Should definitely have this type of cable. So what I'd like to do now is show you how we actually set up the sensory cart so that it was able to be controlled by the Sensory Zone controller. As I showed you earlier, we had zone 1, so you can take a dime or a penny or a small flathead screwdriver, and you basically just can turn this. It clicks, and I have it set for zone 1, so this is going to control the first zone when I press the button mark number 1. So once I have that set, what I want to do now is you have an option to, this gets plugged into your wall outlet, and you have an option to just either plug one sensory item in here, or as I mentioned before, if we want to create zones, what you would do is you would plug in a power surge protector or a power strip here, and that will allow you to plug multiple sensory items into the power strip, and then you can control them all at one time. You can shut them on and off with just this one controller. So let me show you how that works. So what I do first is I'm going to plug my power strip into the bottom of my controller here, and then I'm going to plug that into the wall outlet. Okay. Now that I have that plugged in, I have 2 items here on my cart that I want to plug into the power strip. Just plug in one and then plug in the other. Okay, here we are back at the Sensory Zone controller. So what we're going to do now is just, again, if you press on zone 1, it's going to turn all the items that are plugged into my power strip on the sensory cart. They'll stay on, and I want to shut them off. I press the bottom button, which turns off the zone. And again, you have 3 other zones or 3 other modules that you can set up and plug in either a single sensory item, or using the power strip as I demonstrated earlier, multiple items, and they will actually be as one zone, and they'll be controlled by whatever zone you have set up for them. And the labels we have here, these are just some generic labels that we created. This is a 2x2 square, so you can create your own labels however you see fit. You can use pictures. You can actually use, if you're allowing the participants in the sensory room to control the room if they have any kind of maybe some visual impairments or they have some sensory, you can actually create some texture. So you can really be pretty creative with this and basically set up these buttons and label them however you'd like. So there you have it, item number 5008, the Sensory Zone controller. This item can be purchased through our website at enablingdevices.com or through our catalog and our phone sales at 1-800-832-8697. This is Vinny Lavodi for Tech. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for stopping by.